here, and that's where...
That's the Lancet.
Exactly.
And the blood's going in here, is it?
Yeah, just press there. There's a little spring in it, so you get a little shock. It doesn't hurt.
Shock. It was about just under 5,000 people who, at the moment, have got HIV but don't know.
That's right.
So if they're tested, they will know. And it is a good thing to know. Because then you can get treatment, and it's much, much better. See the best people. So it is always better.
Keir Starmer has abruptly cancelled all his scheduled appearances, raising serious concerns about his health. With no prior warning, the Labour leader has withdrawn from key engagements, leaving the public questioning the real reason behind his sudden absence. Is this just a minor setback, or is there something more serious at play?
I predict that before this year is out, Keir Starmer will be out. He'll develop health problems that will cause him to step down and into the boardrooms. That's a prediction. Put it down now and bookmark it.
Keir Starmer has abruptly cancelled his major visit to Buckinghamshire, and the reason is making waves, a group of furious farmers armed with tractors. But this isn't just about inheritance tax. This cancellation marks the beginning of what some see as Labour unraveling, and it's not just Starmer's health that appears to be on shaky ground. Starmer was all set to deliver a key housing announcement in Buckinghamshire, with his speech prepped and ready. However, just as he was about to step into the spotlight, something stopped him in his tracks. The sudden cancellation has sparked intense speculation about what's really going on behind the scenes.
At the time, what got you into this, and what do you feel about this site? Because I've always thought that it must be really incredible to be part of building, I mean, actually here, not just building houses, but building a community, and see the school and that already up. How does that make you feel?
Well, it's a very proud moment, I guess, seeing it from start to completion.
Yeah, and also for years...
This is a wake-up call if there ever was one. These farmers aren't just angry, they're fed up. Starmer has ignored them for months, treating rural communities as an afterthought. Now, they're confronting him head-on, and he has no answer. It's as if he thought he could breeze into the countryside without facing any pushback. And his team's excuse? We had no idea they'd be there. Seriously? Have they been asleep at the wheel? Farmers have been raising concerns for ages. You'd think Starmer's team would have seen this coming, but clearly they need a crash course in rural affairs.
Driving past here or doing whatever, you're going to be sick. You're going to say, there's people living in a house. Or a series of houses, a community that I was part of creating.
It's very...
Yeah. Feel a good person, knowing that you built something from the start.
Yeah, but that's what I've always thought about working in construction, working on...
Exactly. Starmer's housing plan is like trying to build a skyscraper on sinking sand. He's pushing this grand vision for new homes, but has completely ignored the people who actually manage the land. It's a disaster in the making, and the cracks are already showing. And let's be real. If he can't even handle a group of frustrated farmers, how is he supposed to run a country? Being Prime Minister isn't just about polished speeches and cushy meetings in Westminster. Sometimes, you have to step outside the bubble, get your hands dirty, and actually listen to the people you're affecting. Wild concept, right?
To finish an apprenticeship for carpentry.
This one, 18 months.
A visit to a housing development in Cambridgeshire. It's areas like this, between two towns, soon to be top of the queue for planning permission.
Well, I've got 1.5 million homes being built.
The Prime Minister says he'll stop the blockers, all to help people like Cassie to settle down.
How does it feel to have your own place?
Amazing.
Labour's plan to reclassify bits of the green belt into a new developer-friendly grey belt will speed up house building.
Exactly. Starmer's so-called solution to the housing crisis is just another disaster waiting to happen. Reclassifying parts of the green belt into a grey belt sounds like a clever loophole, but in reality, it just shifts the problem. Elsewhere, paving over farmland, threatening food production, and angering the very people who actually manage the land. And let's talk about the irony. Labour, the so-called party of the working class, is now throwing farmers under the bus. Instead of listening to them, Starmer cancels and disappears at the first sign of pushback. That's not leadership, that's avoidance. If he can't even handle criticism from rural communities, how does he expect to run the whole country?
You don't get that growth. That means there'll be no extra money for public services.
I am confident that we will get that growth. It is
and if you don't?
It is the single
defining mission of an incoming Labour government. I've set out.
Starmer is barely holding his party together, and now he's walking straight into another storm: defense spending. If Labour thought housing was a battleground, just wait until the internal war over military budgets heats up. Some in his party want to boost defense spending to meet NATO commitments, while others argue the money should go toward domestic priorities like housing, healthcare, and welfare. This isn't just a minor disagreement, it's an all-out civil war. Starmer is stuck between trying to appease Labour's old-school pacifist wing and proving to the public that he's tough enough to handle national security. If he caves on defense, he'll be accused of being weak on security. If he pushes for more spending, he'll alienate those demanding more investment in social programs. And let's not forget, this is all happening while his housing plan is already in turmoil. Reclassifying the Greenbelt, dodging angry farmers, and now facing backlash from within his own ranks? If Starmer keeps running from every confrontation, how long before voters start wondering if he's running from leadership itself?
Labour has pledged to build 1.5 million homes over 5 years. With planning reforms, support for developers, housing associations and local authorities, and through the Affordable Homes Grant, they believe they can make that target a reality.
An obstacle to the aspirations of millions, now and in the future, who deserve the security of home ownership. A future hidden by our restrictive planning system and conference, we must bulldoze through it. No more land bankers sitting comfortably on brownfield sites while rents in their communities rise. So it's time to get Britain building again. It's time to build 1.5 million new homes across the country. Opportunities for first-time buyers in every community. New development corporations with the power to remove the blockages. New infrastructure to support families and communities to grow. Roads, tunnels, power stations built quicker and cheaper. And a new effort to rewire.
Starmer is trying to project strength on the world stage, pushing for a military budget boost to align with NATO commitments and impress Washington. But his own Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, isn't buying it. She's treating the Treasury like a locked vault, unwilling to hand over billions for defense while the UK grapples with economic pressures. Now it's not just a policy debate, it's a power struggle. Starmer is reportedly prepared to override Reeves to push his agenda through. Meanwhile, Business Secretary Jonathan Reynolds is trying to put on a brave face, insisting everyone is on the same page. But if that were true, why would Starmer need to go over Reeves's head? Something doesn't add up. Either Starmer is losing control of his top team, or his unified Labour Party is anything but. If he forces through the spending, he risks a rebellion from his own chancellor. If he backs down, he looks weak on national security. Either way, this showdown is exposing deep fractures within Labour, cracks that could widen as the pressure mounts.
Mr. Speaker, he talks about trust, he talks about action. Just today, this government is taking action to reform defective EU laws to unlock over 100,000 homes, boosting our economy, supporting jobs, and ensuring that we can realise the aspirations of homeowners. Now, he talks about trust. He tried in this House to talk the talk on house building. But at the first sign of a cheap political hit, what did he do? He's caved in, Mr. Speaker. Rather than make the right long-term decisions for the country, he's taken the easy way out. It is typical of the principles-free, conviction-free type of leadership that he offers. Flip-flopping from being a builder to a blocker. Mr. Speaker, the British public can't trust a word he says.
And just when you thought Labour's internal chaos couldn't spiral any further, in comes David Lammy with a bombshell. If Russia wins in Ukraine, the UK might need to triple its defense budget back to Cold War levels. Labour has been loudly backing increased military spending, but there's a glaring issue. They have no clear timeline for hitting their much-touted 2.5% of GDP target. It's all talk, no action. Classic politics. And the pressure is mounting. NATO's Secretary General and other defense hawks are pushing for 3% of GDP to bolster UK security. But with Rachel Reeves guarding the Treasury like a dragon, hoarding gold. How exactly does Starmer plan to fund this without slashing spending elsewhere or hiking taxes? Labour is trying to project strength, but their defense strategy is looking more like a house of cards, one that could collapse. under the weight of its own contradictions.
We will crack down on Tory ministers' private jet habit. What is Rishi Sunak so scared of up there in his private jet? Meeting a voter? Well, we will properly enforce the ministerial code on the use of private planes and save millions of pounds for taxpayers in the process.
This mess is just the tip of the iceberg. Labour isn't just divided, it's tearing at the seams. Starmer is fighting a battle on two fronts, one against the opposition and another within his own party. He's trying to project strength, but if he can't even get his own chancellor on board, who's really in control? Is Starmer losing his grip? Labour MPs are already whispering about possible replacements. Talk about confidence in leadership, Xiao. Even former Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng is stirring the pot, claiming Starmer is too afraid, sack Rachel Reeves. And let's be honest, when your own opponents start mocking you for being scared of your own team, you've got a serious credibility problem. Shame on you, Starmer. He's retreating faster than a shadow at sunrise, missing key moments to take charge east of the narrative. Instead of tackling a farmer's grievances head-on, he'd ran for cover, leaving a leadership vacuum and letting our critics define the conversation for him. And then there's the civil war. Brewing inside Labour, Starmer's control over his party is about as strong as a toddler trying to herd cats. The party is fracturing over economic policy and defense spending. It's like a dysfunctional family gathering where everyone's had one too many and decided to air all their grievances at once.
Another broken promise from Sir Keir Starmer. The promise? Under Labour, your energy bills won't go up. 2 years ago, he said this.
We'll keep those prices down. We will not allow these rises to happen.
He even promised Labour has a fully costed plan to freeze your bills.
That's why the Labour Party has a fully costed plan to freeze energy bills this winter. And we'll pay for that with a windfall tax on those unexpected profits. I understand. I completely understand why so many people are frustrated at the government that's not doing anything about their energy bills.
Labour even tweeted this. Labour would act now to stop energy bills rising, saving you £1,000 this winter. In May this year, he went on Good Morning Britain and said Labour would save you £400 on your bills. In June this year, he said again that Labour would cut bills, create jobs and provide energy security. In Parliament, he hammered the Tories for even thinking about cutting the winter fuel payments for pensioners.
It sounds like you're crafting a apolitical commentary or script with a strong and provocative tone. Are you working on a YouTube video, blog post, or social media content? Let me know how I can help refine it, whether you need editing, structure improvements, or a more impactful conclusion.